Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we just made it so that our hex selection window is no longer broken, so that's always a good thing. And the next question is, well, what do we do next? Well, on my list I have that we need to do 3 things, essentially, before the game is in a place that is quasi-playable. I mean, we need to implement the buildings actually doing things. They kind of don't right now. The framework is there for them to do things. All we would need to do is implement sort parcels and load parcels in the on-minute tick. But, yeah, that's... We would need to implement that. We would need to implement vehicles. Like, actually implement vehicles. And then we need to implement packages and routes. And we need to overhaul the world view so that we can see where our stuff is. So that's basically what we need to do before we can get this game to a state where it is a game. As of right now, it's really not. But it'll get there soon enough. Now, the if call here did add a fair amount of time in our hex manager. And now that it is consistently returning correctly, I think we can safely get rid of that. Like so. And then we just return IJ. And that should bring us back down that roughly 4 seconds of loading time. Which, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But let's go ahead and play this and see how far we get in the tutorial before we run into something that doesn't work. It won't be too long. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, come on, loading screen. You can load. There we go. We're gonna have that big old garbage collection spike right about now-ish. No? Okay. We're gonna go next. So we need to find a piece of land. Right? Oh, no, we need to name our company. That's right. Oh boy, I've forgotten how my own game works. Okay, we successfully named our company. We can change this at any time in the future if we so choose. We're gonna keep going, blah blah blah, surveying land, hex levels, blah 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 blah. We're going to go ahead and do that. In order to purchase land, you must first be in land purchasing mode, blah blah blah. Yep, we're gonna do that. Buy land mode. Excellent. We are going to go ahead and purchase this mall. Confirm. Enter demolition mode. Click on your hex to level that useless building. Of course, you can't level hexes that you don't own. Naturally. Buildings history. Next, we're going to construct our own building. Enter construction mode, and then navigate to the post office. Gotcha. We're already in construction mode for a postal office. Just left-click on the hex to construct it. Bam! We've got ourselves a post office. It's got 1 slot for a delivery vehicle, and it can also sort a small volume of mail. Just one problem, we don't have a delivery vehicle. Exit construction mode by right-clicking any hex, and select your hex with left-click to continue. Bam, bam. You've now selected a hex. In the upper box, you can see some information about this hex. In the lower box, you can see there is 1 delivery vehicle slot in this structure. Click on the on the delivery vehicle slot to purchase one to fill that spot. Bam. We've now got a delivery vehicle there that costed us $100. And that appears to be the end of the tutorial. Interesting. Interesting. Well, let's go on into our tutorial then. And actually, we need to go in to our tutorial prefab in here. So, scripts. No, wait. It's under advisor, tutorial. Okay, so this is where we purchase a vehicle. Unpause on purchasing delivery. Okay, so we will go ahead and add in. We're gonna go ahead and add in vehicle control. So you've now selected a hex, blah blah blah, that's all well and good. We're gonna delete that. And for right now, we're gonna have this not pause on next. And then we're going to go ahead and say something along the lines of you have purchased a delivery vehicle, and it has automatically been assigned to your selected hex. Now, you need to give it something to do. Okay, so we need to give it something to do. Enter. How do I want to phrase this? Yeah, just through the toolbar. Enter create route mode through the toolbar. And that's pretty much it. So then we would pause on next, and we would do unpause on entering route construction, or route creation mode. So we would go into our advisor object, I believe. And we'll go ahead and implement this. Public virtual void unpause on entering route creation mode. If method equals null, do setup method equals unpause on entering route creation mode. Should unpause equals false, else method equals null, and should unpause does not start with a capital. There we go. And then we would need to implement this up here. And my phone is going off right now. Wonderful timing. Go away, phone. Else if method equals unpause on entering route creation mode. Thanks, Visual Studio. You knew exactly where I was going with that. That's actually pretty neat that it knows that. It must keep track of what the latest one to be added was and then suggest that. It's pretty neat. So if hexmanager.business.interaction mode equals interaction mode.create route, then we can just say should unpause equals true. And that should be that. So we'll go ahead and assign this into the tutorial. So unpause on entering route creation mode. And then we will go into our tutorial script here. Where did I put that? Here it is. We're going to just toss this on in. Perfect. So we enter create route mode through the toolbar, and then we'll go ahead and duplicate that. And then we will go to route creation. So how is route creation going to work? Well, the idea is essentially this. You create stops, and then it pathfinds to that stop, preferring to go on roads rather than through not roads. Because realistically, the way I have it intended in my mind is that vehicles can only travel along roads, and they travel at a set speed. And then when they get to the nearest hex on the road to where they need to go, they need to walk the rest of the way, and they walk far slower. That's the idea, anyway. So what we need to do is do something along the lines of, well, there's going to need to be a pathfinding algorithm involved in that, obviously. The route itself is probably going to store that information, and then the vehicle will just steal that from the route, so it won't need to pathfind beyond creating or editing of the route. But what I'm thinking right now is we'll just create route stops, and then the route will automatically pathfind it and create the route. So essentially you'll be creating waypoints, I guess you could say. So route creation. You are now in create route mode. While in this mode, you can left click on any hex to create a waypoint. the route... Well, actually, we're in create route mode. So when we left click on any hex to create a waypoint, this will create... Well, this will create a new route. Where's the origination point, though? We need to create an origination... Yeah, we need to create an origination point on any owned hex to create an origination point. This is where your vehicle will originate from and return to at the end of the route. Okay. So, click on any owned hex that can contain a vehicle to create an origination point. This is where your vehicle will originate from and return to at the end of the route. So that will essentially instantiate a new route, create an origination point, and then allow you to move or create waypoints, essentially just taking you into edit route mode. This will also drop you into edit route mode, where you can where you can create and modify waypoints. Okay. So yeah, that's the general idea here. Now, we do have a route material, correct? I believe we do in our materials folder, which is around here somewhere. Yes, this guy right here. So, the other thing is, the other thing to keep in mind is that we need to come in here and say, while making routes, keep in mind your vehicles have limited range. So essentially, each vehicle would have a certain amount of fuel, and the vehicle, the fuel would be burned probably by traveling hexes while not on foot. So essentially, each vehicle can go, say, I don't know, I'm making this up right now, but say each vehicle can go 10 hexes. It goes 10 hexes, and then it has to return to its origin point, otherwise it will be out of fuel. Now, it's not going to be possible for it to be stranded. It's just, you're going to have to provide, like, fueling stations or whatever. If your vehicle runs out of fuel, it will return to the origin point and leave the rest of the route untouched. To prevent this, you can place fueling stations along the route and drop a waypoint on them. The vehicle will stop and refuel at that time. Okay, so essentially that's what it is. The next question is, do vehicles run 24/7 or do they have shifts? Like, is there a route option to run to set like what shift this route is run on? Probably. But that's something for the edit route mode. So for right now, we're going to just go ahead and say that there is no function here and that this doesn't pause on next. It is time to put a cut in here, but we've made some interesting determinations on how the routes are going to work, and I actually like the way that this is shaping up right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we're going to keep working on this. See you all then.